Hey guys, welcome in this video. I hope that all of you are doing great. So in today's video, I'm going to break down for you guys one of my best trades ever and my best trade so far in 2023, which was a trade on the Chinese stock market. Okay, so it's probably not a market that most of you guys are used to, but it's a market that I like to trade and it offers great opportunities. As most of you guys probably know, I trade multiple different markets. I trade indices, commodities, forex, and I trade everything from all over the world, okay, because there are opportunities everywhere. So as a professional trader, it's important to just look at everything and try to find the best opportunities. All right, so I'm going to break down for you guys this trade. I'm going to explain you everything about it. All right, the fundamental analysis, the technical analysis, how I got in the trade, how much I made and stuff like that. Right, so I'm literally going to share with you guys everything. The goal is simply to bring you as much value as I can and try to help you in your trading. So guys, if you are excited for this video, please drop me a like. I would really appreciate it, and again, it helps me grow the channel even more. And make sure as well that you're subscribe to the channel if it's not already done. And with that being said, let's get right into it. So as I said, this was a trade on the Chinese stock market. It was a trade that I took at the beginning of the year and that I hold on to for a couple of weeks, and I'm going to share with you guys everything about it. So we will start with fundamental analysis. If you guys know a bit about my trading, you know that I always look at fundamentals first. When I say fundamentals, it's everything related to geopolitics, worldwide events, central banks, inflation, interest rates, and stuff like that. So I look at fundamentals, and this essentially gives me my idea for the trade in itself. And then what I do is that I simply go on the markets, I will do my technical analysis, and I will try to find the ideal moment at which I can get in the trade. So my goal as a trader is to mix fundamentals and technicals together, and that is when I will optimize my probabilities of getting it right and making money. Okay, it's pretty much as simple as that. So first of all, fundamentally, let me break down for you guys what was going on with China, right? So here we had the pandemic, and then after that we had a massive bull market, as we all know. Now the big difference, first of all, is that if we look at, let's say, the S&P, right, so the US stock market, we can see that this bull market right here lasted all the way until the beginning of 2022. Okay, so the beginning of last year, essentially, right? Now if we look at China, we can see that the bull market actually ended at the beginning of 2021. Okay, so almost 1 year earlier. Okay, so essentially, right, we had the pandemic, we had a big push right here, but then from these levels, it didn't do what most of the other stock markets did, which is continue going up, but it actually made a big correction right here. And the reason why is very, very simple, right? What was going on in China is simply that they had a zero, I'm not going to say the word, right? A zero pandemic policy, right? Let's say it like that, right? And so essentially, right, what was going on because of this, right, is simply the idea that, you know, in China, right, it's not a democracy just like we have here, okay, like it's another world, okay, like it's something totally different. And so they were essentially, right, asking everyone to stay at home, and it was a complete lockdown and everything was shut down. And as soon as there were just a few cases, right, everyone was going back home, locked down totally, and no one was allowed to do anything, okay? And so this was how they dealt with the pandemic, okay? And obviously this is not something that worked, first of all, and this is not also something that they would have been able to sustain for a very long period of time. I mean, the whole place is not going to always be in lockdown and nothing is going to happen, right? I mean, at some point they will have to learn how to live with it and just reopen, okay? And so while they were in these lockdowns and with these kind of policies, right, well, the market went down quite a lot. And I mean, it's very logical, right? Nothing was going on, the economy was shut down and stuff like that. So it was a really negative situation. So that's the reason why China was going down while all of the other markets were pushing to the upside, okay? But as I said, personally, this idea here, right, I was already having this idea months and months and months ago. And what I've realized is that, well, as I said, they would not be able to sustain such a policy and such a way of living forever. At some point, they will need to change and they will need to adapt. And the day that they decide to change their policy and change their perspective on the whole pandemic, well, that will be the day where the market would bottom and would make a big push to the upside. Okay, so this was essentially my fundamental idea. And one of the things as well that I can explain you guys, it's been like 6 years and even more, okay, that I've been trading. And throughout all of these years, what I can tell you, right, is that the best trades are oftentimes the simplest ones, okay? When you have an opportunity that seems just very common sense and very simple, most of the time, at least for me, these are the trades that works, okay? And the trade that are very complex, that I need to do a lot of research and a lot of thinking to actually come up with an idea, most of the time, these trades are really bad and they don't come out profitable, okay? And so that is something that is extremely important to understand. So personally, when I see a simple trade idea, I actually like it, and it gives me even more confidence in the trade. And here again, we have a perfect example. I mean, it was such a simple idea, right? Zero X policy, right? Markets went down, making a bigger correction, and the day that they change is the day when the economy will recover. There will be stimulus and stuff like that, so the market will go back up, okay? I mean, it's pretty much, as I said, as simple as that. So this was the thought process here fundamentally. And then if we look at the chart on a technical basis, first of all, on the monthly chart, what we can do is just identify some of the big levels. So we have this low right here. After that, we have this low right here. We could also go with this zone right there. As you guys can see, right, we have a lot of highs and a lot of lows. So we could take this lowest level right here and also this one here. So it gives us a zone like that, and then this level here, this level here, this level here, and we have kind of a zone here as well. So let's go like this, okay? So essentially, right, I've just identified some of the biggest levels here on the monthly chart. And when it comes to my trading style, right, most of you guys probably know this as well, I like to wait for a breakout, okay? I like to wait for a confirmation that my fundamental idea is actually playing out. And as I said, that's really when I will have the highest probability of making money on a trade, okay? So the market was going down, and when we hit this level right here, this was really at the point at which I started to look for a potential reversal, because we were kind of slowly starting to see the policy changing in China, and we already had a really big correction. I mean, if we measure this in terms of percentage, we had a 45% percentage I said two times the same thing, right? 45% correction here, right, on this market. And so it's pretty big. And so I was looking for a reversal from there, okay? And so what happened is that after that, if we go, let's say, on the daily chart, we can clearly see now this correction in a bit more details, okay? So we have a series of lower points on the charts, and we could also use a trend line just like that, okay? So to identify the correction, and we could clone the trend line and have it just like that right here, okay? So with these levels here, and also taking in these ones and these ones, right? So we have this correction just like this, essentially, right? As I said, my idea was to wait to see if we would get a breakout of this correction to the upside, and that would be when I would start to be interested in the trade, okay? We could also have the moving averages just like that, and have the indicators, okay? So this was how the chart was looking like. And then, as I said, from these levels here, this is where we started to hear more and more about China potentially reopening and this fundamental idea playing out, okay? So as you guys can see, we were starting to go back into a nice uptrend just right here. But to me, this was not enough, because as I said, we were still under most of the obstacles just right here. And I needed to wait for the market to break these obstacles, which would give me the next move. Well, that would be to the upside right here, okay? So essentially, that was the idea. And so then after that, if we just continue to play it out, we can see that we get to the trend line and to the 200 moving average. So this was really the big level that I was watching. And we can see that here it starts to make a bigger correction around here, okay? So at that point, I was looking at the market and I was like, okay, well, if we break above this level here, we don't really have any obstacle until here, which is the next big level. And so it gives me a nice room to the upside and potentially, well, a good trade, okay? Now, one of the things as well that is important to understand is that here, if you guys look at this axe right there, we can see that we were in December, okay, and even the halfway through December, right? And at that time of the year, especially with Christmas and the New Year and stuff like that, right, the holidays, I don't trade the markets because most of the time the markets are just not clear. They are up and down. They don't really provide any good opportunity, so it's not really a good time during the year to trade, okay? So my thinking process was, okay, if we get a correction during December and then at the beginning of the year we continue breaking to the upside and we make a move, that would be when I would get interested in potentially getting into this trade, okay? So we get a correction right here. As you guys can see, we're really now playing with the trend line and the 200, so this looks good. And then at the beginning of the year, there we go, okay? So with this candle specifically right here, we had the breakout. We broke above the trend line, we broke above these highs, and we broke above the 200 moving average, okay? So when I saw that at the beginning of the year, this was the 5th of January, okay? I actually got in a trade above these levels right here, okay? So this green line was my level of entry for the trade. And as you guys can see, right, that's the reason why I like sometimes to get breakouts like that, is simply that from here to here, there really are no big obstacles on the way. And so this actually gives me a lot of room to work with when it comes to this trade, okay? So that's about it. And then after that, I had also this trend line on, and we can clone it and we can have it just like that. Okay, so we had this, as I said, uptrend structure that was going on. Okay, so I got in the trade here, and then after that, let's see what happened, right? So it goes up, it goes up, it goes up, it goes up, it pushes even more right here. So this was looking very, very good and very strong. At that point, I was already in a pretty big profit, because one of the things that is important for you guys to understand is that when I got in this trade, I didn't have any stop loss because it's a stock market index. Okay, and this is one of the systems that I use within my trading, but essentially, when I trade stock market indices like that, I don't have any stop loss, okay? Now, it doesn't mean that I'm risking like a big money and like I'm crazy and like I'm over risking and stuff like that. Not at all, okay? Everything is calculated so that I can hold this position even if it goes lower, and I don't really have any limit to how long I can hold the position, okay? So everything is structured that way, but essentially it just increased a lot my win rate for indices, and essentially that's how I trade, right? I'm trying to keep it simple again so that all of you guys can understand, because here we get a bit deeper into portfolio management and how to deal with multiple positions and stuff like that. So that's another topic, but essentially that's the idea, right? And so I had a pretty big position here on China because I really did believe in this trade, and I really wanted to allocate a pretty good portion of my own portfolio to this specific trade right here, okay? So even with just a move like that, I was already in a pretty big profit, and it was looking very, very good for this trade, okay? So essentially that's the idea. And then after that, as we can see, so we touched this clone trend line. We were respecting it for now. After that, we make a small correction and we go back up and we touch again the clone trend line, and it's again respected, right? And so when we got to this level right here, this is where I started to become very, very, very careful with the trade. And the reason why is because the big zone of obstacle that I showed you guys before on the higher time frame is right here, okay? And so as we can see, the clone trend line is very, very close to it. So we can actually extend this zone, and we can see that we've already touched this zone right here. So I'm taking the clone trend line as part of the zone of obstacle because it's very close to it, and we also have a lot of overbought right here on the other side, okay? So from this touch here on the clone trend line, this is really when I started to be extremely careful about the trade, and at the first sign of a reversal, I wanted to get out of this position, okay? So after that, if we go on the 4-hour chart, what we can add as well is this trend line right here, okay? And we can see that it was nicely respected with these two moving averages right there. And we can really see that it was starting to get squeezed around here, okay? So at some point it would have to either break to the upside or make a big reversal from here, okay? So that was essentially the idea. So then after that, I waited to see if we would get a break either way. So we make a little low right there, as you guys can see. And from there, I was like, okay, if we break under all of these levels here, I would probably get out of the trade, especially that we have divergence on the RSI and divergence on the MACD. So this was looking more to the downside, I would say, okay? And so then after that, what happened? Well, we had a big push right here. We get the breakout. And at this specific candle right here, when we broke under this low, we broke under the trend line and we broke under this moving average, I was like, okay, that's enough for me. Let me take my profit because it's most likely going to make a bigger correction after such a strong run to the upside, okay? So I got out of the trade specifically at this level right here, okay? So that's essentially how I manage the trade. If we measure in terms of percentage, right? So we can take it from the entry all the way to the exit of the trade right here. So that's a 7% gain, which is very, very good, okay? 7% in a couple of weeks on a really big account, right? As you guys know, I don't trade with like 5 or 10,000. I traded with pretty large numbers. So 7% on a big account in a couple of weeks on one trade to start the year, it's amazing, okay? It's a really, really, really good trade. And this was already starting the year well, amazingly, okay? So essentially that's the idea. That's when I got out of the trade. And as you guys can see, my exit was very, very good as well, because after getting out of the trade, well, we can see that the market actually made a bigger correction. And even today, we are still lower than this exit level. And we came back all the way to the entry level, actually, right? So this was a beautiful trade. So that's essentially the idea. Okay, so as you guys can see, overall, pretty simple, I think, you know, like nothing too crazy, nothing that is like out the norms or whatever, right? I mean, when you have a good system that is proven to work, all you need to do is follow the system. That's what I've been doing for the past multiple years, and it always has been working very, very well, okay? So essentially, guys, that's the idea. So I hope you enjoyed the video. If you want to go further in your learning and work with me directly, I suggest you guys to actually join the coaching program that we have. I've been coaching people how to trade for a number of years as well. We have over 400 people now inside of the program, so it's very, very nice. I do these kind of trade breakdown videos every single week for the members of the program, where I show all my trades, all my analysis and stuff like that. And we have just a bunch of other tools as well inside of the program to actually help people learn how to trade the right way. If that is something that interests you, just look at the link in the description box below. If it's in French, just use Google Translate. Okay, you'll be able to answer the questions and you will be able to book a free call with me and we would be able to talk about it. Okay, so that's about it, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. Again, if you did, please leave a like on the video. I would really appreciate it. Make sure as well that you're subscribed if you are not already subscribed to the channel, and you can also share the video around if you enjoyed it. All right, so guys, I hope you enjoyed it once again. Don't forget to leave the like, and on that, take care, trade with care, manage money well, and I will see you in my next video. Bye bye.